It's the start of college basketball on Fox Sports Ohio, and there is no better place to start than at UD Arena, home of the Dayton Flyers and the best fans in the NCAA. From Dayton, Ohio, and the always loud UD Arena, it's time for Dayton Flyers basketball. Today, the Flyers play host to the Mastodons of IP Fort Wayne. And hi, and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Dayton Flyers basketball. Jim Kelch, along with the former Flyer Derek Dukes. Well, the basketball's flying once again. The hardwood ready to be pounded for the 2013-2014 basketball season. And Derek, while I know the Flyers didn't play like they'd hoped to last year, hopes abound big time for this year's team.
Jim, you're absolutely correct. There's a lot of excitement about Flyer basketball this year. With a great nucleus of returning players and a tremendous recruiting class, there's high expectations for a successful basketball season.
One of the players that won't be with this Flyers team this year, first time in 3 years, leading scorer from a year ago, Kevin Dillard.
Yeah, Kevin Dillard, Dayton's two-time all-conference performer. He led the team last year in points, assists, and steals, and he also was their emotional leader, their go-to guy. Whenever they needed a big play or a big basket, they'll have to find someone that can fill his shoes.
It won't be one player. They'll look really to two different players. One is V. Sanford. The other is a newcomer, Jordan Seibert.
Jim, when you talk about replacing Kevin Dillard, you can't replace him, as you said, with just one player. You have to do it by committee. And that starts with V. Sanford. Dayton's returning scorer of a year ago at 12 points per game has worked very hard over the summer at getting to the basket and finishing at the rim and also making shots off the dribble. And then when you look at Jordan Seibert, a very talented transfer, one of the top 20 transfers in the country. Can score off the catch and can score off the bounce. Look for him to be very aggressive on the offensive side of the basketball.
Now, from an inside perspective, they will look to Devin Oliver, a four-year player here.
Well, Devin Oliver, Dayton's senior leader and top returning rebounder from a year ago. Devin can score from the perimeter, but he really does his damage down on the post. So look for him to provide that inside punch.
Opposition today, the Mastodons of IP Fort Wayne. They play out of the Summit League. They ended the season last year pretty well. What are you expecting to see from them today?
Well, when you look at IPFW, they have to make shots from the perimeter, Jim. They have 5 guys that shot better than 35% from the three. So if they can make shots, that should open up the post for easy baskets and allow them to have a successful season and game as well.
Well, how does the song go? Let's get it started. College basketball here in the hotbed of college basketball, Dayton, Ohio, and UD Arena. We'll take a break. One of the most exciting atmospheres in college basketball right here at UD Arena in Dayton, Ohio. Lights are off, the traditional turning off of the lights here at UD Arena, and they'll get the starting lineup for this Dayton Flyers club, who's coming off a season, of course, in which they were 17-14, missed a 20-win season for the first time in 5 years, missed going to the postseason for the first time in 5 years, and they try to rectify all that with the start of this basketball season here this afternoon.
6'7" senior from Kalamazoo, Michigan, number 5, Devin Oliver. And at center, a 6'10" senior from Centerville High School, number 35, Matt Cavanaugh. Head coach for your Dayton Flyers, Archie Miller.
Starting lineup for the Dayton Flyers this afternoon, Derek, with the 3 returning starters in there and Matt Cavanaugh, who missed last year.
Well, when you look at Dayton, the key this afternoon will be Matt Cavanaugh. His ability to score some easy baskets. Of course, as you mentioned, wasn't with the team last year, but should play some big dividends for the team this year.
And there's Archie Miller, the head coach of the Flyers in his 3rd year. 17-14 a year ago, 37-27 overall in his first 2 seasons. On the IPFW side, the Mastodons, they were 16-17 a year ago, and here's a look at their lineup. They, of course, have the big man down on the bottom, Steve Forbes at 6'9", and you notice they do not have Louis Jacobo, who is their leading returning scorer at 6'5" and a senior. He will sit out this game due to an arm injury. They played very well, did the Mastodons at the end of last year, winning 5 in a row and 6 of their last 7, getting beat in the Summit League semifinals. Tip controlled by the Mastodons, and the college basketball season here in Dayton is underway.
Well, Dayton moves right in their traditional man-to-man defense, Jim. They're going to double team the post.
Yeah, they're going to get it down low to Forbes out of a double team, and he is going to be called for a travel. But immediately, Derek, we saw that good double team by the Flyers.
Well, they understand Forbes has a lot of strength and great post moves, so they're going to look to double team him the entire game and force this IPFW team to make open shots.
Nice drive on the right side of the lane by V. Sanford, who averaged 12 points a game last year, and gets the scoring started here this afternoon.
Well, I mentioned in the opening, V. Sanford worked very hard over the summer on getting to the basket and finishing over taller defenders. You saw it on that last possession.
McCray with a nice reverse layup. Isaiah McCray.
Well, Dayton can't allow dribble penetration for McCray to get from the wing all the way to the baseline and finish.
Three-pointer missed by Sanford, and Joe Edwards from Chicago corrals the rebound. Here's the big guy down the lane, and Steve Forbes looked like he almost lost his balance going in there.
Well, Steve Forbes did a nice job getting out in transition. Lost 30 pounds over the summer, and you see he's able to run the court and finish at the rim.
They're cut off on the baseline, and a foul will be called, our first foul of this game.
We talk about Forbes, very agile and able to finish over Price. Great job running the court.
We'll get a chance, Derek, to talk about the new defensive rules this year with regard to arm barring, with regard to touching of the guards out front. It's really going to change the way that the players have to play the game and the officials call the game.
You're absolutely right. The whole freedom of movement will be played big in this year's college basketball season. You see Pierre with the finish at the rim.
He's one of the returning starters from last year's club. Dyshawn Pierre from Canada ties this game here early at 4.
Well, Dyshawn Pierre, they're looking for big things from him. Had a great freshman campaign, looking to pick up off that season from a year ago.
Kavanaugh gets his first rebound, and he'll move this ball up the floor. Dayton wants to run this year, if it's possible, even more than they've run in the past, according to Coach Miller.
It's a team that really likes to get out in the open court.
Good crossover dribble to the basket by Joe Edwards, who gets his first goal of the year, putting the Mastodons back in top, and a foul called on the drive.
For poor transition defense by Dayton, you see Edwards with the crossover dribble and then gets to the rim, absorbs the contact, and able to finish. Dayton has to do a better job of transition defense and stopping the basketball.
Pierre called for the foul, but Edwards cannot convert on the three-point play. So the Flyers with a basketball and an opportunity to take the lead with a 3.
The Mastodons are a very experienced team. They have 7 returning players that started at least 2 games last year, so don't look for them to be very aggressive as well. You see Devin Oliver with the inside jump hook.
Nice to have him as a lefty in there, isn't it? He can go that move to the baseline and kind of protect himself.
Yeah, Devin Oliver has really worked very diligently on his inside play.
Trying to go inside the Mastodons, and a nice steal by the Flyers. Sanford out in transition and on his way to the goal. He is knocked down by Pierre Bland, who commits the foul.
Well, we talked about in the opening, Devin Oliver's ability to score down low. You see with the turnaround hook shot, made it look very easy. And senior leader and captain Oliver provides Dayton with that low post offense.
Sanford, an 82% free throw shooter a year ago. The native out of Lexington, Kentucky, played actually at 2 different schools in Lexington, at Lafayette, and then later at Lexington Catholic. And another transfer came in from Georgetown after a couple of years there.
Yeah, he had a great season last year, Jim, transferring from Georgetown. Averaged about 12 points a game. Look for him to again be a double-digit scorer for the Flyers this season.
Lead of a couple now by the Flyers. We're in the opening segment of this first game of the 2013-14 season. Fadeaway shot there by Joe Reed is off the mark. And again, the Flyers running it up the floor. Sanford, a little teardrop in the lane.
Again, Sanford's ability to get to the rim and finish has drastically improved.
Third turnover already now by the IPFW Mastodons as they throw that ball away.
We talked about V. Sanford. Last year he settled for jump shots. This year he's looking to be more aggressive and get to the rim, and you see the finish over the taller defender.
Sanford had a couple of nice exhibition games in the wins over Ryerson and Finley, but particularly in the second one against Finley when he put up 22 points, including a couple of threes.
Very efficient on offense thus far.
This is a big body that the Flyers certainly missed a year ago in Kavanaugh. That one didn't quite roll in for him, but Oliver gets the offensive rebound. Open lane to the basket for Pierre.
You see what we early here in the game, Dayton not settling for jump shots, getting the ball down on the low post. They got to do a better job down on the block, defending the Mastodons post players.
Joe Reed becomes a fourth different player to score. Averaged 7 points a game last year for the Mastodons. And now the tray from the corner by Kyrie Price.
You see Dayton have so many threats. Price last year only shot 28% from the three, but really worked hard on his three-point shot over the summer. And you saw he knock that last shot down with confidence.
There's that double team along the baseline again, and a result in a steal. The fourth turnover for the Mastodons. And now the Flyers throw it away. And the always sure-handed Derek Dukes comes up with the loose basketball.
That's the first time I touched the basketball, Jim, in probably 15 years to see Pierre with a nice, easy lay-in.
A 7-point lead for the Flyers at the first break. On an 11-2 run, the Flyers lead by 7 after the first segment of this game. Derek, let's take a look at your keys to success for the season for these Flyers.
Well, when you look at the Flyers, in order for them to have a successful season, they have to rebound the basketball. Last year, where they were one of the better rebounding teams in the Atlantic 10 Conference, they also have to defend the perimeter. You saw the Mastodons have already been able to dribble, drive, and finish at the basket, so Dayton will have to do a better job of protecting the perimeter. And then lastly, take care of the basketball. Last year, Dayton averaged more turnovers than they did assists. That's never a good statistic, so keep an eye on those three particular categories.
And you mentioned rebounding. They were in the upper tier of the A-10 in plus-minus rebounding. It was a +4 per game. Pretty good number.
Really is, and with Matt Cavanaugh back in the lineup, that should serve them very well.
Into the game for the first time is Scoochie Smith, one of the very highly touted recruits on this Dayton club, and he missed that shot. Mastodons up with the loose basketball.
Scoochie Smith, a highly touted freshman out of New York, one of the top 125 players, high school players in the nation.
You've got Scoochie Smith being one. You've got Kyle Davis another, and Kendall Pollard, the big three in terms of recruiting for this Dayton club. Good weak side rebound there, pulled down by Oliver.
Scoochie Smith, although just a freshman, he plays with a lot of poise and a lot of confidence, very deliberate with the basketball.
Smith, a 6'2 freshman out of New York City.
Fouls on number 23.
Like IPFW, Dayton is looking to get the ball down on the low post for easy baskets, and thus far the Mastodons are creating a lot of fouls.
That foul was on Kevin Harden, who started the first 12 games for the Mastodons last year, missed the final 21 due to injury, and they're glad to have him back as a junior college transfer. Seibert with a good weaving move to the goal.
That's Jordan Seibert. We talked about him in the opening. He comes off the bench, but he may possibly be Dayton's top scorer this year. You see Kibalowski locks down the three.
Kibalowski, for a big guy, pretty good three-point shooter at 35% last year. Good follow-up there by Oliver, but he can't get it to fall.
Oliver missing a couple point-blank range shots. They're doing a nice job rebounding the basketball offensively.
Open look for Bland, and he knocks it down.
And the Mastodons playing with a lot of confidence. A lot of returning players with great experience. So they won't be intimidated by this Dayton Flyer crowd.
Well, you get another whistle and a foul on that play.
We talked about Jordan Seibert, a little inside-out action to create some space, and then finish with the right hand Just a very talented and athletic player. Another great addition for the Flyers, coming over from Ohio State.
Big Steve Forbes picked up his second foul at the 13:32 mark, so he will leave the game. Lead down to 3 for Dayton at 17-14.
Again, they make a conscious effort to get the ball down low and try to create some fouls on this Macedon team.
A lot of talk about the freshmen that have come in for the Dayton team, but when you look at the sophomore class of Robinson being one who's in there now, that's a pretty good class as well. Steal and a drive and a basket by Mo Evans, and a foul call against the Flyers.
Well, Scooty Smith will learn when you're in the open court. You see the steal, great anticipation by Evans, getting into the passing lane and then able to finish at the rim. If you're Scooty Smith, you'll have to learn. If you're going to foul a guy in transition, you can't allow him to get the ball up to the basket and finish. You have to have a clear, hard foul.
Mo Evans completes the three-point play, one of the 5 freshmen on this team. He's out of Indianapolis, and that completes a 9-0 run now by the Mastodons, who have tied this game at 17.
The Mastodons now move into a zone defense. Because of foul trouble, they're going to try to force Dayton to make some outside shots.
That one by Seibert was too hard, but the rebound back into his hands. They're wondering about the resetting of the shot clock here. That shot by Seibert, I'm not sure that drew iron or not. Let's take a look.
I think he shot it.
Boy, it's hard to tell, isn't it?
Yeah, I think from that angle, I don't think it hit the rim, and the officials just took a look and they agreed. It's down to 15 seconds now on the shot clock.
And Tony Jasic, the head coach of the Mastodons, complained to the official, who then, and that's one of the rules they can review this year. That is, did the shot hit the rim or did it not, and do we reset the shot clock and do it not? You could do it right away, and that's exactly what they did.
And they were able to get it right, Jim. Dayton has to be aware of the shot clock. Here's the alley-oop here.
Backdoor alley-oop, finished off by Deshaun Pierre, who has 3 early field goals.
Well, now to get the crowd out of their seat. Deshaun Pierre, again, very talented sophomore, had a great freshman campaign, and you see the big finish by Pierre.
And that was a good read by Scoochie Smith.
Great timing and coordination.
Nice drive to the basket, but McCray's shot won't fall. Flyers quickly running it up the other way. And a travel call made against Seibert. Here's a look at that alley-oop.
Well, we talk about timing. You see the ball goes to the weak side, and Scooty Smith, perfect lob, and Deshaun Pierre with the great finish.
Well, you could just tell that whole 5 defense just all shifted to the right. Nobody on the backside to guard Pierre.
And that's the challenge with a zone defense. You don't have man-to-man responsibilities, Jim. So Pierre able to slip behind the defense and throw the hammer down.
And a little hand check foul here on Scoochie Smith. The freshman picks up his 2nd early foul.
When we talk about the new rule with freedom of movement, Scoochie Smith with the foul. Again, we talked about one of the keys for Dayton, not only to this afternoon, but also for the season, their ability to defend on the perimeter. And you see their guards are picking up some early fouls.
Wide open inside was Joe Reed, but they did not see him, the Mastodons. They could have gotten an easy hoop. Now instead, a travel call made against IPFW and another turnover. That's their 5th. Flyers by 2 with the basketball as we approach the midway point of the first half here at UD Arena. Opening game of the 2013-14 season.
Well, IPFW are going to try to disrupt Dayton's offense by switching their defenses. They've gone from a zone back to man-to-man now. So look for Dayton to get the ball down low. Got to be aware of the shot clock situation.
Price with a fadeaway along the baseline, and he hit the side of the glass and out of bounds. Karams the basketball, bringing us to an under 12 timeout. Archie Miller's club up by a pair with 11:43 to go here in the first half.